Welcome to Coffee with Cohee. In today's pod, we're starting a new series, 50 Years of HWP. We're celebrating the 50th anniversary of HWPco, not your typical manufacturer's rep, but we'll get into that. Today, we're getting an overview of HWP and what makes them different. Joining me today on the pod, he's one of the principals and the director of sales at HWP. He's a failed musician, a theme here at HWP for some reason. He's your all-American guy, father of two, married his high school sweetheart, loves good food, good drink, and is always learning and improving himself. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the one, the only, Trey Gunter. Trey, welcome to the pod, sir.
Thank you very much, Mark. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm happy to be here. I'm excited about this because I don't know what I'm in store for.
Well, man, I've been in the security industry for going on 16 years now. Very familiar with the traditional manufacturer's rep and how, hey, they show up, they bring you some donuts, they talk about product, give you some literature, and they're out the door. HWP, though, is not like that at all. So talk to me about HWP and who they are and what makes them different.
Okay, cool. So I can only really talk to and about HWP from my tenure here, okay? So my first introduction to the company was, let's see here, what year is this? This is 2020. So 2006, 2007 is when I first got, introduced to Henry W. Phillips Company at the time. I got into kind of what I'm going to call the low voltage business or space in 2006, I believe is the year. I think it's 2006. As you said in the introduction, I'm a failed musician. My wife and I got married in 2007. And prior to that, I was going to be a world. By the way, I'll sign an autograph for you. I was going to be so famous, right? I was just convinced that I was it, man. And I was in this band, and we were going to just change the world. And that did not even come close to happening. It was so bad. It was so bad. But I was thankful for some of the stuff that I learned through it. And I had this opportunity from a friend of mine who had an integration business outside of Birmingham, Alabama. I'm from Alabama. Roll Tide. And don't forget about NASA, by the way. Another GM from the state. Anyways, he knew that I knew signal flow and knew that I could talk to people and didn't mind talking to people and thought I'd make a good salesperson. And so he hired me, and we would put in, AV systems, we would put in security systems. And so through that, I got to meet different rep companies and rep firms, and I got to work with Henry W. Phillips Company. And at the time, I would say their product makeup was more catered towards like industrial AV and physical security, right? So when we started doing post-Katrina, we started doing some work in casinos and in churches. How about that? Casinos and churches, the same. I got to interface with Henry W. Phillips Company, and it was great. And I was able to buy wire from them. I was able to buy host enclosures and different types of widgets that I needed. And I left that company. I became an independent rep, worked for a couple different rep companies, and had the opportunity to buy out David Perganis with Marcus Myers, my business partner, like 6 years ago. And that has just been just the greatest thing. And when I joined the company, I was, I think, the 7th employee, and we were able to diversify what we did and the way we did things. And we went from like 7 people to like 25 people in 2 years, something like that. So it's been really awesome. It's been really awesome to see a company that's been around for 50 years do everything in its power to be, relevant and viable and needed and integral in this space, whether it be security and data or audio, video related, commercial, consumer. I mean, it's been really exciting to be able to see and to be able to be a part of it.
So when you first had your when you first got involved with rep firms in 2006, 2007, when you first got introduced to them, what was your perception of the rep firm? What did you see the purpose of the rep firm doing, and what did they do for you as an integrator?
Okay. So at that time, I would say that the good rep firms, the people that I thought that brought me value, were people that had good products. They were able to educate me on the relevance of that product and why I would want to choose a certain widget over another. They were actually real helpful in me being able to understand signal flow more than what I already knew, but like how do you tie an AV system to a security system and a life safety system, right? So they did a really good job of kind of holistically teaching me or showing me what opportunities were out there and how to address them. That was also back in the days when people would use like 3-ring binders with product literature. So the guys that would come and sit down with me, and it'd be like just a stack of paper. That was just not going to be a great time because I have no real interest in flipping through 3-ring binders, going line by line, page by page over, the impedance of some capacitor. Like I didn't need to know that. I didn't even know that, right? I needed to know how I could make money or save time or create value in my customers' expectation, right? With whatever it was we were doing, whether it be a security system, locks, cameras, or if it was like a speaker hang or a lighting rig. Like I needed to know how to create value to my end user. And the way that I did that was I relied on the rep firms that would kind of do that for me.
So so early stages, then I guess I could say, hey, these guys they're almost like an encyclopedia. They show up, here's some literature, here's some info. The good ones educated you, but the average ones just said, here's the products we have, good luck.
They just kind of would phone it in, or they would call me up trying to hit me up with specials, or
okay.
They didn't really, it's like they didn't want to have a relationship. It's like they didn't want to kind of come alongside of me and let's either win together or lose together. But either way, man, we were going to go do this together.
So let's fast forward to you and Marcus decide, hey, we're going to buy out Dave. We're going to own one of these rep firms that used to call on me. Mm-hmm. What did you guys, when you sat down and were mapping out where you wanted HWP to go, what did you guys look at? Hey, this is what we want this to be.
I'm going to answer that. Let me shut this dog up real quick, though. I'm very sorry. And he's deaf and he can't hear. He doesn't know where he is. Just give me 1 second, please.
Yeah, man, go ahead. Let's fast forward a few years. You and Marcus decide, hey, we're going to buy a rep firm. Mm-hmm. And knowing what you know from 06, 07 and dealing with these rep firms, what is it you guys said when you bought Dave out at HWP? What is it that you guys said, hey, we want to take this company in this direction and we want HWP to be different, and how?
So one thing I'll say that was really awesome, and I'm thankful for it even to this day, is I got the opportunity to buy a business from a guy who also acted as like a mentor, right? So it was a very organic relational thing, and it still is. I mean, Marcus and I still call Dave and ask him for all kinds of different things because the guy's been doing it a long time. And from my perspective, he did it with the highest level of integrity and morality and ethic. And I kind of, I want to aspire to be that way, right? So where I'm going with this is it's not like we really had to change a whole lot in terms of like the DNA of the company.
Right.
We just knew that the DNA that we had, maybe this is a bad analogy, but the DNA that was there, we just needed to kind of grow, right, and broaden, and adapt to like today's marketplace, but also be positioned to where it can also be viable in tomorrow's marketplace. So,
Okay.
Some of those things are, and it's true to this day, like we want to be the most trusted and valuable partner, like period, right? So for me, that's a multifaceted statement. I want to be trusted and valuable to the manufacturers that I work with, right? My manufacturing partners. I want to be trusted and valuable to my coworkers, the people that I work with on a daily basis. I want to be trusted and valuable to my customers, right? And by customers, I mean, channel partners. So if everything that's motivating me and hopefully you and everyone else is to be trusted and valuable, I mean, what harm can come from that, right? What bad can come from that? I don't know. Trust and value, that's a subjective statement, right? So that means I have to be trusted and valuable to each individual person, and that takes time. And I think the way to do it is to be open and honest and transparent, and just say, hey, look, man, like I got to tell you some bad news. It's going to really kind of hurt, but I got to tell you, I think that over time, I'm able to be consistent and diligent. That if I were to tell you bad news, you would probably, it wouldn't be as bad as if I did not have trust and value with you. Does that make sense?
It does. It
Okay.
does. So it's not just you're looking going, hey, we're not just the sales guy or bringing you some donuts or dropping off some literature. We almost want to take the level of consultant/advisor. It's not about, it is about what we sell to you at the end of the day, but more importantly, what we sell, how does that help your business? How does that help that channel partner?
That's right. And we're not, I have no interest in selling something to somebody one time. I don't. I want to have a business relationship that we just go do things together. We work on projects together. We overcome hurdles together. And that does kind of allude to, your question, what makes us different is for me, it's not just about selling the widget. It's about working together holistically on the project, right? So we have dedicated resources that's unlike other rep firms, right? We have technical staff, technical team members that are able to speak at a very high level, to minute detail level, like tech speak, that I can't even formulate the words because it's so advanced for my simple brain, right? I mean, like we've got this that's a unique service that we're able to provide. We're not looking at just, how we can be trusted and valuable today. Even today, amongst this COVID stuff, right? Like we want to be trusted and valuable in the virtual world as well as in the real organic world, right? And we want to be able to do that today and be able to be that way tomorrow and next month and next year. So I guess where I'm going with this is we're not just kind of resting on our laurels and saying, hey, this game plan worked once or twice. We're just kind of trying to figure out what's around the corner and how to be, again, trusted and valuable today, tomorrow, next week, next year, next decade, so on and so forth. And I think that's why the company's been around for as long as it has been, is baked into who we are.
So when you guys bought in seven employees,
Mm-hmm.
covering a multitude of products. So covering security products, covering AV products, covering and covering 6 states.
Correct.
So now we're over 25. So what was the thought process in that of, hey, we need to specialize in?
Mm-hmm. What was the motivator for that?
Well, I guess, yeah. What was the motivator? What was the whole thinking and logic behind it?
Okay. So I would answer, that's a really good question. So one answer would be, why did we do it? Well, because we knew that to be really good at something, you kind of got to be able to be dedicated to it, right? And so to be really good at security, to be able to address the security and data world and be really good at it, we needed to have people that's kind of what they focused on. And in order for us to be good in the AV space, we needed to have people that's what they focused on. So, when I became the 7th employee, we quickly realized that, for us to try to be trusted and valuable, we need to kind of diversify ourselves in the way we go to market. And so we decided to split up 2 different sales teams. So we went and hired some additional personnel, and we split off a security division and split off an AV division, right? And then as that started to grow and we were able to find some successes through that, then we expanded into what we call our partner solutions group, which is a massive help. They are absolutely the glue that keeps this baby together. And then, once we had some successes with that, that's when we rolled out our system support division. And then once we had some successes with that, we decided to, expand upon personnel in each team. And so it was a very organic thing. And I would say that we made that decision, 1, out of necessity, but 2, because of opportunity. Like, the only way we were going to really be able to grow as a company was if we grew as a company by way of personnel. Makes sense?
That's funny. All right. So how many business units does the company have now today?
5. So we have AV Systems, Pro User Group, Critical Systems Group, Partner Solutions Group, System Support.
So can you give me like a quick overview of each one?
Sure. So Critical Systems is what we would refer to as our security and data team. And their primary focus is on buildings that require physical security, as well as surveillance and the infrastructure to pull that off, right? So the data points needed to pull that off. Our AV Systems group is primarily works on projects that are larger scale, multifaceted, where you're going to have the need to have an audio system with a video system, more than likely doing some sort of a broadcast, whether it be a VTC, like video teleconferencing system, or it be a broadcast like we're going to televise this. That's kind of their area of focus. Our Pro User Group deals with people that create music, right? People that create songs, they create events, they create immersive environments. So that team deals a lot with recording artists and professional musicians and retail stores. Think of people that create songs as well as the people that create the experience of that song being performed live, right? So they deal a lot with touring houses. Our system support group, their job is to be there as an asset and a resource to you. And by you, it is you who is listening to this, whoever you are. They are there to help you at a technical level, figure out why what you have is not working, and help you figure out how to maybe overcome that with what you currently have laying around, or if you need to source some new widget, they can really help with that at a technical level. And then our partner solutions group, they, like I said earlier, I mean, they keep this whole thing really together. It's like the glue. They make sure that we're able to process orders. We're able to make sure that orders are showing up on time. If we have back order issues, they help make recommendations on comparable products to offset. And it's really great. I mean, every single business unit is integral equally to the business's success. Every single person has a very pivotal role. And I'm just thankful that I get to work with everybody. That's my stance on it. I got some awesome people I got to work with.
Did you think 6 to 7 years ago when you became employee number 7 that, hey, HWP would be where it's at today with 5 business units and 25 plus people? And
no. How could I? I mean, I knew that there would be some cool stuff that we would do, but to the level, I couldn't have known that. This has far superseded anything that I would have truly envisioned, frankly. And it's all not because of me, which is kind of cool. I mean, it really is. I'm telling you, like I'm very convinced of this. I literally get to work with the best people every day. I do. I'm thankful for it.
What has been the biggest challenge you've seen with rep firms as a whole over the last, I don't know, probably 5 to 7 years as industries change?
Okay, so are you asking what's the biggest struggle that I've seen other rep firms having or enduring, or what exactly? I'm sorry.
Well, as you've seen it, I mean, we've seen the transition in HWP, how it's gone from, you had to be a mile wide and 2 inches deep to now I'm, 3 foot wide and a mile deep kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
So let me ask it this way. What's been the biggest challenges you've seen in the rep firm over the last 6 to 7 years that you've had to overcome or the team has had to overcome?
So I would say one of the biggest hurdles that I think just this business model has had, one of the biggest struggles is adapting to today's marketplace, much less tomorrow's. But like the rep companies that go around and they just hand out brochures and they want to walk you through a 3-ring binder, that's not really awesome nowadays, right? But people still do that. And so that's been kind of, I think, a struggle that the business model has had, is people's unwillingness or maybe just not knowing that they need to adapt to function different roles differently today, as opposed to 5 years ago, as opposed to 10 years ago or 20 years ago, right? So that would be my macro statement. My micro statement would be the biggest thing that we've had to kind of overcome is doing a lot of things, doing a lot of innovative and valuable things with a small budget and a small team to pull it off. Now, I know that there's 25 plus people in the company, and one would say that that's a big rep company, and because it is, but we're still a small company and we have a limited resources. So to be able to pull off the things that we've pulled off and to pull off the things that we want to pull off, that's kind of tough. So, I mean, if I could get like an extra hour or 2 out of the day, I think it might make, if I could get that to happen, maybe free up some extra bandwidth. I don't know.
What do you, where do you see the market going over the next few years as leadership in companies get younger? And I say that by saying, hey, that older generation is retiring.
Mm-hmm.
and their sons and daughters are taking over that family-run integrated business.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you see as that Gen Y and that millennial generation start to come into power, if you will? Where do you see things changing within the marketplace, or how HWP goes to market?
So I think a lot of the things that we have got to be keenly aware of in the future, and the future means this afternoon and beyond. I would say that managing people's expectations, equally coupled with being able to give clarity or context to the amount of noise that's out there, right? So you can get access to all kinds of information on the web, right? I feel like part of my job and part of our job in the future is being able to give context to all that, and being able to give maybe some, not counsel, but just kind of some input as to be like, that stuff really doesn't matter and here's why, or this stuff really does matter and here's why. To be able to just give some context, I think is going to be a big deal, all the while managing people's expectations, right? So, I mean, just think about how people expect now that they can just go push a button on a phone and have groceries show up the next day or even that same day. Like, managing people's expectations is going to be a struggle. Especially, I look at my two girls. I mean, I have two little girls. My oldest one's 10 years old, and a couple of years ago, she was standing in front of the TV and was getting really mad that the images weren't changing while she was touching it, because she thought it was an iPad, like just a big freaking iPad. Well, I had to explain to her, like, that ain't an iPad, girlfriend. We got to use a remote control. And she looked at me like, what? A remote control? Like, but that's an example of an expectation, right? We're going to have to manage that. So that's how I see it. That's how I see it today, at least.
Cool. Well, man, is there anything we've missed that you wanted to touch on talking about HWP?
I don't know right offhand if there's anything that I missed, but I would just like to say that I think this is really awesome that you're doing this podcast, and I really hope that all the listeners can kind of get to know more of the characters that make up this organization, and hopefully can see that it's a really awesome team of really awesome people. And I'm very thankful to be in this spot. I'm very thankful that we get to work with the manufacturer partners that we get to work with, and the channel. I mean, I'm a really thankful guy, man. I don't know. This is just such a cool thing to be able to sit back and watch it just happen and unfold, and to see people do new things and be excellent at it. That's really, I don't know. I feel like I'm rambling on here, but I'm having a hard time putting into words my thoughts.
No, that's good.
Those are my thoughts, though. So.
That's great how you put your words into thoughts and not your thoughts into words. But that was a great segue, because we are going to learn about the characters in this organization. And we're going to start with you, sir, because it's time for Trey to be on the hot seat with Cohee's 14 fun questions. Why 14? Because that's how many I wrote down.
That's it.
Are you ready there, sir?
Let me get a swig of water real quick here. Let's do this.
Next time, call it coffee, because this is coffee with Cohee.
I meant to get coffee. Excuse me. Scene. And cut and let me.
Let's replay that. All right, first question. You kind of answered this earlier, but how long have you been in the AV industry?
Since 2005. So 15 years.
And how did you get in the industry?
I had illusions of grandeur, and reality stepped in. I'm a failed musician.
So what you're
baby.
saying is, you thought you were awesome singing in the car, and then you realized, whoa, once they turn the music off, yikes.
Dude, listen, man. This past
That's
weekend,
awesome.
I know this is a side note, but this past weekend, I put on a show with air guitar in the driveway. You should have seen it, man. I could have been the greatest rock star, but I had no talent.
What city were you born in?
Oh, Birmingham, Alabama.
Beham. Favorite city to travel to?
U.S. or in the world?
Favorite city to travel to?
I would say Prague, Czech Republic.
All right, I got to ask why. That's the first time someone said that.
So first of all, it's beautiful, and it's easy to get around, and it is cheap. You can do anything you want to do all day long for $200. Food, transportation, go watch a concert, do whatever you want to do. $200. That includes housing. It's wonderful, and it's beautiful. There you go.
We need a TV show called $200 a day. $200 a day with Trey. That's perfect.
See how far you can get.
What's your favorite food?
My favorite food. Man, I'd have to say probably barbecue.
Pork or beef?
Great question. Yes. I will say though, I do prefer beef over pork, only because it does not care for me that much. But we're working on our relationship right now. It gives me heartburn.
I'm a big fan of the pig sickle. Give me some pork ribs and I'm happy. Favorite restaurant?
Ooh. Okay. I'm probably gonna have to go with, I think it's called Bazaar Meat. It's this steakhouse at the SLS in Las Vegas. Jose Andres is the chef. It's like this Spanish themed steakhouse. It's awesome if you like protein, which I do. Good.
I would also accept at the restaurant that has the cereal ice cream.
That's my second favorite.
What profession would you like to try?
Oh man, I think I would probably want to try out being a chef or like a strength and conditioning coach, either one.
Total opposite ends of the
I
spectrum.
know, total opposites, man, but this is how I live my life.
You're either going to get fat or we're going to work out till you die. What profession would you hate?
I would hate to be an actuary. It's so dull you can't even respond, right? Exactly. They just live their life every day in a spreadsheet, and it's like deep spreadsheet stuff, man. Like three letters in the column deep. You know what I'm saying? Like AAA.
Oh, man. I didn't know it goes out that far.
When I found out about it, I thought, I don't need to know anymore.
What's your favorite word? See, Coffee with Cohee, we get you with the tough ones.
What's my favorite word? Ooh. That got me. That got me right there. My favorite word. My favorite word is yes.
Okay. Yes. Good one. Least favorite word.
Does that count? It's like, I don't know. Is it yes or no? It's like I need a black or white, right? Like yes or no.
that's funny. When you're not working, what can we find you doing?
That's a good question, man. Here, as of late, seeing as how I'm sheltering in place, if I'm not working, you could find me cleaning up the house. You could find me trying to maybe cook some food or doing a workout or trying to read something, learn something. I don't know, just shooting my bow, doing a little archery. I did all that this weekend, so I mean, yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe that's. I would say in a non-COVID-19 environment, what would I be doing? I would be doing either something with my family. I'd be, traveling somewhere. I like to travel. I like to go on adventures and explore, all that. By the way, let me clarify, but I don't like to sleep on the ground. Like, I'm not a camping guy. I don't sleep on the ground. I gotta have AC. I'm not that guy.
Your idea of camping is Motel 6.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. All right. What's your favorite sport?
Okay. My favorite sport. Man, I'm going to say that's a tough one. I like a lot of sports. And I would say I'm not really like the mainstream guy, even though I'll say, I actually like watching soccer because there's no commercials.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big reason for that for me. I like some of the grappling stuff. I don't know if I have a favorite one, but I like all that stuff. I like one-on-one things.
All right. Well, I need you to pick one for this next question.
Okay. So I'm going to go with baseball. Here's the deal. I'm going to go with baseball on this one. I'm going to go with baseball because it's a team sport, but there's very much mano-a-mano when it comes to pitcher and batter. Okay.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to make you the sports czar. You can change one thing about baseball. What would it be?
I'm going to need the price of tickets to the games to drop. I'm going to need to make it affordable for me to go to the games because watching it on TV is not as awesome as watching it in the ballpark. So I'd say
I would also accept less games because 162 is too many.
I was going to get to that one as the follow-up. And then the third, since we're on the topic, we're going to lower the prices of the wares and the goods and the concessions. So, yeah. And maybe not in the middle of the summer, like in August, when it's just like no one wants to be outside because it's miserable. That's about it.
Nice. All right. Last question, and thank God it is. If heaven exists, what do you want to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
You did a good job.
Very simple.
That's it.
As for me, Trey, I want to hear God say, "That'll do, pig. That'll do."
That'll do.
And for this podcast, that'll do, Trey. That'll do. First of all, congratulations on 50 years. That is phenomenal. And I'm excited just to be a small part of that. And secondly, if anybody wants to get in contact with HWP or find out more info on HWP, what's the best way for them to do that?
So I would encourage you to go to HWPco.com. That's our website. And then from there, we've got links to all the various social media outlets that we have, our YouTube channel. If you wanted to get any more info from anything in particular from the company, we've got a phone number on the website. We've got an info@hwpco.com email. But all of our contact info, I believe, is on there as well. So, if you wanted to talk to me about my failure as a drummer, I mean, you know how to get me, I guess. If there's any other thing that I said that might be heretical to you, I welcome the conversation. Just reach out to me.
I will
But that
say
would be
Trey's
where I
a
would
big
say
fan of.
start. Yeah.
I would say that Trey is a big fan of knowing what your spirit animal is. So that's always a great conversation. Well, man, that's it for me. I am officially out of coffee. So until next time, I'll take mine with cream and sugar.
Thanks for checking out the podcast today. Special thanks to Trey Gunter for being my guest. Congratulations to HWP for 50 years of success. Here's to 50 more. Let us know what you think. If you like the podcast, give us 5 stars. If you don't like the podcast, give us 5 stars anyway, because you're good people. Let us know what topics you'd like us to talk about and who you'd like us to interview. You can reach us at Cohee with Cohee at HWPco.com. Thanks and have a great day.